Have you ever wondered why some people seem to wake up every morning with unstoppable energy, crystal clear focus, and the kind of determination that makes everything they touch move forward, while most people drag themselves out of bed, stuck in the same cycle of stress and distraction? A small group, the 1%, begin their day already ahead. It's not luck, it's not magic, and it's not because they were born with something you weren't. It comes down to the choices they make the night before. The truth is, your future is built in the quiet hours before sleep, when the world goes silent and no one is watching. This is the hidden space where habits are shaped, decisions are planted, and the next day is won or lost. Think about it. How often do you climb into bed with your mind still racing, replaying the past, worrying about the future, or numbing yourself with endless scrolling? You might tell yourself it's harmless, but it's in these fragile moments before sleep that you either set yourself up for growth or sabotage tomorrow before it even begins. The top performers know this. They guard this time with intensity. They've discovered a simple but powerful bedtime trick that doesn't just calm the mind, it rewires it. And that's why, while others are stuck in patterns of exhaustion and distraction, they wake up with clarity, direction, and an advantage that compounds every single day. Here's the deeper truth. Your brain never really shuts off. Even as you sleep, it's filtering information, processing emotions, and reinforcing what you feed it. If you feed it chaos, you wake with chaos. If you feed it focus, you wake with focus. The elite understand this, and they deliberately shape the thoughts they carry into the night. It's not about working harder. It's about working smarter, using science and psychology to train the subconscious to serve their goals while they rest. Imagine falling asleep, not weighed down by noise, but guided by a powerful inner compass, so that when you open your eyes, your actions align with your vision. That is how the 1% stays ahead, not by doing more, but by directing the mind to do the heavy lifting in the hours when most people are unconscious. And here's why this matters for you. Every dream you've held on to, the career you want, the body you envision, the peace you crave, depends not just on what you do in the daylight, but on the choices you make in the shadows. Change doesn't always come from dramatic effort. Sometimes it comes from subtle shifts, repeated daily tiny decisions that stack up until they transform everything. If you stay with me, you'll learn the exact bedtime trick that high performers use, a tool so simple you can start tonight. And if you commit to it even for a week, you'll notice the difference: calmer mornings, clearer focus, and a sense of control that pulls you forward instead of leaving you behind. This is your invitation to stop ending your days on autopilot and start using your nights as your secret weapon. Stay with me until the end, and you'll walk away with a practice that could shift the trajectory of your life. Because the truth is, greatness is not built in public, it's built in private, and the way you end your day decides how powerfully you begin the next. Most people underestimate the final moments before sleep, treating them as empty space, a buffer zone before unconsciousness. But those minutes are not empty at all, they are a gateway. Your mind is wide open, highly suggestible, and more receptive than at any other time of the day. The thoughts you carry into the night are the seeds you plant in the soil of your subconscious. And just like seeds in the ground, they do not remain still. They grow, they spread roots, and they shape the direction of your life. The 1% knows this, and they never waste that fertile ground. Science has proven that during the transition into sleep, your brain enters a state where it processes information differently. It's a psychological phenomenon called the hypnagogic state. In this state, your subconscious mind absorbs ideas and impressions with incredible power, bypassing the barriers of skepticism and distraction that dominate the waking day. Most people flood this state with negativity, doubt, or meaningless noise from social media and television. They fall asleep programming their minds with worry, comparison, and emptiness. And then they wonder why they wake feeling restless, uninspired, and already behind. The elite do the opposite. They use these moments as a quiet laboratory for transformation, feeding their subconscious with direction, clarity, and purpose so that even as they rest, their minds are building momentum toward their goals. Consider how much energy you wasted replaying mistakes or dwelling on fears at night. Every time you do this, you're training your brain to expect struggle, to prepare for failure, to accept a story of limitation. And your brain, loyal as it is, delivers exactly what you rehearse. But imagine if, instead of dwelling on what went wrong, you rehearse what could go right. Imagine ending your day by visualizing the person you want to become, the victories you want to achieve, and the emotions you want to carry. You would not just be wishing, you would be programming your nervous system to recognize opportunities, to align your behavior, to attract solutions instead of problems. That's the power of this bedtime trick. It's not mystical. It's not hype. It's psychology working in your favor rather than against you. This is why the most successful people seem to move with ease, while others fight uphill battles. They've trained their minds to become allies instead of enemies. They've mastered the art of planting intention before sleep so that every morning begins with alignment rather than resistance. You can do the same. It doesn't require wealth, status, or luck. It requires awareness and the courage to take control of what you allow into your mind when it's most vulnerable. That's the difference between drifting through life on autopilot and stepping into life with purpose. Think about what could change if you claim those last moments of the day as sacred. No more ending the night by scrolling until your eyes burn. No more carrying arguments and stress into your dreams. Instead, you end the day by telling your mind exactly what matters most, exactly who you are becoming, and exactly what you want your life to move toward. That single choice separates those who repeat the same year over and over from those who rise, evolve, and create something extraordinary. This is not about adding more pressure to your life. It's about releasing the wasted weight and choosing a better script for your mind to rehearse. Because when you learn to master your nights, you no longer chase the future. You wake up and begin to live it. The reason this practice is so powerful is because it places you back in control of the story your mind tells itself. Every day you are bombarded with outside voices, news, opinions, comparisons, distractions, all competing to shape how you think and feel. Without realizing it, most people surrender their nights to this noise, allowing it to echo in their subconscious until it becomes their reality. But when you claim the final minutes before sleep, you silence the chaos of the world and amplify the voice of your own vision. You stop living as a reaction to everything around you and start living as a creator of everything ahead of you. Psychologists have long shown that the brain seeks confirmation of the beliefs it holds most strongly. If you go to bed rehearsing stress, your mind will filter the next day through the lens of struggle. But if you go to bed rehearsing possibility, your mind will filter the next day through the lens of opportunity. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, not because the world outside changes overnight, but because you change. You begin to notice things you once overlooked. You respond with calm instead of panic. You act with courage instead of hesitation. And those choices compound day after day until your life looks unrecognizable to the person who used to surrender every night to worry and distraction. Think about the people you admire, the ones who carry themselves with quiet confidence and relentless drive. They're not immune to stress or fear. They experience the same challenges you do, but they've trained their subconscious to work for them instead of against them. When doubt creeps in, their minds automatically shift towards solutions. When obstacles appear, they instinctively search for the lesson or the advantage. That mindset isn't built during the noise of the day. It's reinforced in the silence of the night. Every evening becomes an investment, a chance to strengthen the foundation that holds them steady no matter what comes. This is where the edge is created, the invisible advantage that separates leaders from followers. While most people go to bed drained, wishing tomorrow will somehow be better, the 1% go to bed directing tomorrow before it even arrives. They know that hope is not enough. Intention is not enough. Repetition, clarity, and focus. These are the tools that transform thoughts into reality. And the beauty is that none of this is reserved for the elite. It's available to anyone willing to treat their nights as the sacred space they truly are. Imagine the difference it would make if you ended every day feeding your subconscious with gratitude for what went right, clarity about who you are becoming, and conviction about the goals you are chasing. That mental rehearsal would not fade with sleep. It would sink deeper, strengthening neural pathways, aligning your emotions, and shaping the way you act the moment you wake. Instead of stumbling into the day, reacting to the world, you would rise into it with intention, as though your future was already waiting for you to step into it. That is the power the 1% protects at all costs, and that is the power you can claim starting tonight. Because the mind is always listening, always learning, always becoming what you tell it to believe. The question is, what will you choose to feed it when it matters most? What you tell your mind before sleep becomes the blueprint for how you live when you wake. Every word, every thought, every feeling in those final moments acts like an instruction manual, handed directly to your subconscious. Most people don't realize They're handing over commands of fear, stress, and scarcity night after night. They're unintentionally programming themselves to wake tired, anxious, and overwhelmed. But the elite are intentional. They close their eyes with visions of growth, clarity, and victory. They hand their minds a script of strength, and their subconscious follows it faithfully. This is not superstition. It is science. The brain's neural pathways strengthen with repetition, and the last thoughts of the day are repeated more powerfully because they are rehearsed unconsciously all night long. This is why you must protect those final minutes with everything you have. If you allow negativity to creep in, it multiplies. If you allow distraction to consume you, it steals not just your night, but your tomorrow. But if you fill that space with direction, with focus, with belief in your vision, it magnifies. The subconscious doesn't argue. It doesn't analyze. It obeys. And when it is given clarity, it moves mountains without you even realizing it. You've seen this before in your own life. Those mornings when you wake with sudden insight, unexpected solutions, or fresh determination. That's not random. That's the subconscious doing this work while you sleep. The 1% simply chooses to guide it deliberately instead of leaving it to chance. Your challenge is not that you lack discipline or ambition. Your challenge is that your nights have been unguarded. You've let the weight of the world slip into your subconscious unfiltered. But you can break that cycle starting now. Imagine what shifts if, instead of lying in bed replaying problems, you replay possibilities. Instead of ending your day in distraction, you end it in intention. Instead of telling your mind, I'm overwhelmed, you tell your mind, I am capable, I am focused, and I know where I'm going. These words are not empty affirmations. They are commands. And repeated with consistency, they will shape the way your brain perceives reality. You become the director of your own mental movie, rather than an actor caught in someone else's script. This is the silent edge of high achievers. They don't always work harder, but they always work smarter. While the world sleeps in chaos, they sleep in alignment. While others wake reacting, they wake creating. That's why their progress looks effortless from the outside. It's built from the inside. Their nights are not wasted. Their thoughts are not random. Their rituals are not negotiable. And because of that, they rise with a sense of power that compels action. They don't wait for motivation. They generate it. They don't hope for direction. They program it. That is the separation. That is the hidden advantage. And now this same power is in your hands. It requires no money, no perfect conditions, no approval from anyone. It requires one thing, the decision to stop surrendering your nights and start owning them. When you do, you won't just sleep. You'll build. You won't just dream. You'll program. You won't just hope. You'll wake aligned with purpose. This is how transformation begins, not with grand gestures, but with subtle shifts that echo through your entire life. The way you end today is the way you design tomorrow. Every night you lie down, your mind is waiting for direction. It doesn't rest in emptiness. It prepares, it plans, it reacts to the last signals it receives. Most people ignore this truth. They let fatigue, frustration, and distractions dictate their mental state. They scroll through social media, replay arguments, or drown in endless thoughts about what went wrong. And every time they do, they give their subconscious a map of limitation. That map becomes the blueprint for tomorrow, and they wake up walking paths they never chose. But the 1% sees this differently. They know that their nights are not a pause. They are a power source. They understand that the final moments before sleep are the most fertile for planting seeds of progress, clarity, and courage. The brain is remarkably obedient. It cannot distinguish between imagined experiences and reality when you present them with focus and emotion. That's why mental rehearsal works. That's why visualization is not fluff. It's neurological engineering. Every time you vividly picture success, every time you consciously rehearse a solution or embrace the mindset of confidence, you are rewiring your brain to recognize opportunity and take action instinctively. The 1% leverages this power naturally. They don't wait for clarity or motivation to arrive in the morning. They create it the night before. And because the brain continues processing while the body rests, they wake with alignment, direction, and a subtle but unshakable momentum that others spend the entire day trying to achieve. Ask yourself how often you wake feeling scattered, tired, or behind, and then think about how much of that is shaped, not by your day, but by your night. Every worry, every regret, every unprocessed thought is carried into sleep and anchored deep in your mind. And every time this happens, your potential is quietly diminished. But imagine replacing that mental clutter with intention. Imagine lying in bed and deliberately guiding your mind towards solutions, gratitude, and clarity. Imagine programming your subconscious with the exact habits, behaviors, and emotional strength that will carry you forward. When done consistently, this isn't just a change, it's a transformation. The extraordinary power of this practice is that it works whether you feel motivated or not. You don't have to force yourself to act or push through resistance during the day because the groundwork has already been laid while you rested. Your subconscious begins to align your attention, your emotions, and your actions toward your goals automatically. Every morning becomes a launch point, not a scramble. Every decision becomes an extension of the clarity you cultivated before sleep. This is why elite performers seem to accomplish more effortlessly. They have built the architecture of success while the world slept in chaos. This power is accessible to you right now. It doesn't require a perfect night, an elaborate routine, or some rare talent. It requires awareness, intention, and consistency. Protect your mind before sleep. Feed it direction, feed it courage, feed it growth, and watch how your days begin to shift. The 1% isn't ahead because they are lucky, they are intentional. They treat their nights as the laboratory of their life. And in that laboratory, they build the version of themselves that others only dream of becoming. Your future doesn't wait until morning. It is shaped tonight. The choice is yours. Surrender your nights to distraction or claim them as the secret weapon they were always meant to be. Every night, the mind is a battlefield. On one side, there is distraction, doubt, and the noise of the day that clings like a shadow. On the other side, there is potential, clarity, and the quiet strength that can be cultivated if you choose to harness it. Most people surrender to the shadows. They scroll endlessly, they replay mistakes, they let fear echo until it becomes a permanent fixture of their subconscious. The 1%, however, do not fight the darkness, they master it. They recognize that the final moments before sleep are not a surrender but an opportunity, a chance to feed their minds with purpose and to program their subconscious to work relentlessly in their favor. The science is undeniable. Neuroplasticity shows us that the brain adapts based on repeated patterns of thought. When you go to bed thinking about what you want, imagining solutions, rehearsing your best self, your brain begins building the pathways that make those visions inevitable. Every word you dwell on at night strengthens the neural pathways of doubt. Every empowering, focused thought you feed your mind strengthens the pathways of confidence, clarity, and action. This is why the elite are so far ahead. They are not gifted, they are intentional. They use their minds as tools, sculpting them while others are distracted or exhausted. And the results compound quietly and visibly, until one day the success that seems effortless to the outside world is the product of countless nights of deliberate preparation. You may think that the day defines the future. You may believe that success is built in the hours of visible effort, in meetings and tasks and deadlines. But the truth is that your day only reaches its potential when your nights have been guided with intention. How you prepare your mind before sleep determines how your subconscious directs your attention, your decisions, and your actions the moment you wake. Ending your day in chaos ensures you start your morning in chaos. Ending your day in clarity ensures you start your morning aligned. And alignment is everything. Without it, effort is scattered, energy is wasted, and even the strongest work ethic cannot produce extraordinary results. This is where your edge lies. Not in working harder, not in pushing longer, not in struggling through fatigue. Your edge lies in quiet mastery, the discipline to reclaim the moments when no one is watching, to take control of the thoughts your mind will carry through the night, and to feed your subconscious the vision of who you are capable of becoming. When you do this consistently, you no longer chase motivation or inspiration. They rise naturally. Your mornings are no longer a battle. They are a launch. Your days are no longer a struggle. They are a continuation of the momentum you built while you rested. You have the power to change the trajectory of your life tonight. The thoughts you allow before sleep are not trivial. They are your foundation. Feed doubt and it grows. Feed clarity and it expands. Feed possibility and your mind aligns to achieve it. The 1% are not ahead because they are luckier. They are ahead because they protect and harness their nights with precision. You can do the same. The question is simple. Will you let the noise control your mind? Or will you take the quiet moments before sleep and make them the most powerful part of your day? The choice you make tonight will echo in every tomorrow. Every night, you are handed a choice. It is subtle, almost invisible, but it carries more weight than any single decision you make during the day. You can let your mind drift into chaos, reliving mistakes, amplifying fears, and surrendering to the noise that surrounds you. Or you can guide it with intention, choosing thoughts that empower, inspire, and align you with your highest potential. This is the hidden battleground where the 1% separate themselves from the rest. They understand that the night is not a pause in their life. It is an accelerator, a secret training ground where they shape the person they will be tomorrow while the rest of the world sleeps in distraction. The power lies in repetition and consistency. Every thought you focus on before sleep is like a single drop of water on stone, harmless alone, yet unstoppable when applied relentlessly. Neuroscience proves that these repeated thoughts carve pathways in the brain, strengthening the habits, emotions, and behaviors associated with them. When fear, doubt, and worry dominate your nights, your brain solidifies those patterns. When clarity, focus, and intention dominate, your brain begins constructing a framework for success that carries through every decision, every interaction, every action you take. This is the invisible engine behind high performance, the engine that runs while others are unconscious, unaware that their minds are being shaped by the last moments of their day. The 1% are not special because they have more resources, talent, or luck. They are ahead because they have learned to use their night strategically, to harness the subconscious mind's incredible ability to learn, adapt, and grow even while the body rests. They end each day with purpose, feeding the brain exactly what it needs to operate at peak performance tomorrow. They rehearse success, envision solutions, and anchor themselves in calm, focused energy. Their mornings are not frantic or reactive. They are deliberate, unstoppable, and aligned with the life they are building. And that is the key. It is not about working harder. It is about working smarter, using the power of the mind in ways that most people ignore. Ask yourself how often you wake up feeling scattered, drained, or uncertain. And then consider how many nights you have surrendered your mental space to distractions or worry. Each time you allow your mind to wander unchecked before sleep, you are giving your subconscious a script of limitation. But when you take control, even for a few minutes each night, you begin to rewrite the story of who you are and what is possible. You begin to condition your brain to operate with clarity, confidence, and purpose the moment your eyes open. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstance. You are the architect of your own reality. This is the invisible advantage that separates leaders from followers, creators from dreamers, winners from the average. While the world sleeps distracted, the 1% are sculpting their future. They are not waiting for the perfect moment, the right opportunity, or sudden inspiration. They are creating it in the most consistent, powerful, and intentional way imaginable. And that same power is available to you tonight. Guard it, protect it, feed it. The choice you make with your thoughts in these final moments of the day will ripple through your entire life. Claim them, and you claim control over every tomorrow. Every night you lie down, your mind is listening. It absorbs everything you feed it with extraordinary fidelity. Every worry, every frustration, every lingering doubt becomes a blueprint for tomorrow if left unchecked. Most people do not realize how much power they surrender in those quiet moments, assuming that sleep will erase the day's mistakes or carry them safely into the next. But the mind does not rest passively. It processes, it reinforces, it shapes your reality based on the input it receives. The 1% know this instinctively. They understand that the way they close their day determines the way they open the next. They have learned to use those final moments as a weapon, a tool, and a launch pad for the success they are building. Neuroscience has revealed that the brain's capacity for growth and adaptation does not switch off when the body sleeps. It is active in ways most people never notice, strengthening neural pathways, encoding habits, and rehearsing mental patterns that influence thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. If you allow your mind to dwell on fear, resentment, or self-doubt, those pathways deepen and you unconsciously act in alignment with limitation. If you consciously guide your thoughts toward clarity, focus, and ambition, the pathways for success are reinforced and your actions the next day become effortless extensions of that inner alignment. This is the subtle, invisible work that separates ordinary people from those who consistently move ahead. You may believe that change requires enormous effort or extraordinary circumstances, but the truth is transformation begins in subtle, invisible ways. The choices you make with your mind before sleep are the leverage points for lasting change. You don't need to be motivated or inspired in the moment. You simply need to choose what you feed your mind consistently. Ending your day with clarity, intention, and purpose trains the subconscious to seek opportunities, solve problems, and act decisively the moment you wake. This is why the 1% wake with confidence, energy, and direction while others struggle to get moving, exhausted by the mental clutter they carried into sleep. The advantage is compounded over time. Each night becomes a chance to reinforce mental resilience, sharpen focus, and cultivate emotional strength. The brain remembers patterns more readily during this hypnagogic state, the threshold between wakefulness and sleep, where consciousness is more receptive to deliberate input. Every night spent in deliberate mental rehearsal is a night spent building a life that aligns with your highest potential. While others are drifting in distraction, the 1% are programming clarity, courage, and action into the very fabric of their subconscious. This is not about luck. It is about design, discipline, and intention. Now, imagine the life you could create if you claimed this power every night, no longer waking up reacting to circumstance, but waking up aligned with purpose. No longer starting your day drained and scattered, but beginning with momentum, clarity, and focus. Every goal you have ever wanted, every change you have longed for is within reach if you take control of this invisible, high-leverage space. Your mind is always listening. It is always learning. It is always becoming what you feed it. And when you feed it deliberately before sleep, you awaken prepared, powerful, and ahead of everyone else. The quiet moments you guard tonight will echo through every tomorrow, shaping a future you have consciously chosen to create. Every night, as your body prepares to rest, your mind remains fully active. It does not pause. It is continuously sorting, filtering, and reinforcing the patterns you have practiced throughout the day. If you leave it unattended, it defaults to whatever has been most dominant: stress, worry, distractions, and self-doubt. These unguarded thoughts do not disappear when you close your eyes. They embed themselves deep in your subconscious and shape your behavior before you are even awake. The 1% understand this principle intuitively. They do not surrender these moments. They know that by consciously choosing what they focus on in the final minutes of the day, they are sculpting the next morning, the next decision, the next opportunity, and ultimately the trajectory of their life. Science confirms what the elite have long practiced. The hypnagogic state, the threshold between wakefulness and sleep, is a period when your brain is highly receptive to deliberate input. It is a window in which neural pathways can be strengthened, beliefs can be reinforced, and intentions can be encoded in ways that guide behavior automatically. The thoughts you allow in this state have an impact far greater than the conscious decisions you make during the day. When you feed your mind distraction, fear, and anxiety, you reinforce patterns of limitation. When you feed it clarity, vision, and courage, you create pathways that automatically direct your focus, energy, and actions toward progress. This is how the 1% consistently wake ahead while others struggle to catch up. Your power lies not in luck or extraordinary talent. It lies in deliberate, consistent mental direction. Ending your day with intention is the most efficient, high-leverage action you can take. It does not require perfect conditions or endless effort. It requires awareness, presence, and the courage to reclaim control of your thoughts when no one is watching. The simple act of consciously guiding your mind before sleep transforms it from a passive processor of chaos into an active partner in your success. Every solution you envision, every goal you visualize, every affirmation you reinforce strengthens your subconscious capacity to act decisively and persistently when you wake. Think about how much energy is wasted each morning by scattered focus, indecision, and reactive thinking. Every night spent surrendering to distractions, overthinking, or reliving stress is a night your brain invests in patterns that make those mornings inevitable. Every night spent feeding clarity, focus, and intention is a night your subconscious builds strength, resilience, and momentum on your behalf. The difference between ordinary outcomes and extraordinary results is determined long before the alarm clock rings. The 1% do not stumble into advantage. They design it deliberately while the rest of the world drifts unconsciously. You have the same capacity tonight. You can choose to surrender to noise, or you can choose to feed your mind with direction, clarity, and vision. You can take control of the invisible, yet incredibly powerful moments before sleep and use them to shape a life align with your highest potential. The moment you close your eyes is not the end of the day. It is the most potent beginning of the transformation you seek. Your subconscious is listening, learning, and becoming. What you feed it tonight will determine not just how you wake, but how you move, how you act, and how far ahead you stand tomorrow. The power is yours to claim, and it begins now. Your mind is always working, even when your body is still. It does not rest in the silence of the night. It is listening, observing, and encoding everything it encounters. Every fleeting thought, every lingering worry, every unresolved emotion leaves an imprint that guides the moment you wake. Most people surrender these minutes to distraction, scrolling endlessly, replaying the past, or letting their fears dominate. They underestimate the power of this unseen influence, unaware that their subconscious is silently steering their actions, decisions, and energy. The 1%, however, treat this time as sacred. They do not let their nights be hijacked by chaos. They deliberately feed their minds with intention, clarity, and vision, creating a foundation for unstoppable momentum the next day. Science explains why this works. The hypnagogic state, the delicate period between wakefulness and sleep, is when the brain is extraordinarily receptive. Neural pathways can be reinforced, mental habits can be strengthened, and emotional conditioning can take root far more effectively than during the busy, chaotic hours of the day. The thoughts you entertain during this window are magnified, becoming deeply ingrained patterns that guide your focus and behavior automatically. Fear and doubt become self-fulfilling prophecies when allowed to dominate. Clarity, determination, and positive vision become self-fulfilling prophecies when intentionally practiced. This is the invisible engine of high performance, the quiet advantage that allows the 1% to wake ahead while others are still scrambling to catch up. You have the ability to claim this same advantage tonight. It does not require extraordinary effort or talent. It requires awareness, consistency, and the courage to reclaim control of your mental landscape. The simple act of choosing what to focus on in these moments reshapes the architecture of your mind. Visualizing solutions, rehearsing your best self, and affirming your capacity for growth is not empty thinking. It is deliberate neural programming. Your subconscious will carry these patterns into every decision, every interaction, and every opportunity tomorrow, making action effortless and aligned. This is how small, deliberate choices compound into extraordinary results. Consider the mornings you wake feeling drained, scattered, or reactive. Those mornings are not accidents. They are the inevitable outcome of the nights you surrendered to distraction or unfiltered thoughts. Now consider how different it would feel to wake calm, clear, and focused, with direction already built into your mind. That shift is created in the minutes before sleep, not in hours of grinding effort during the day. The 1% do not chase advantage. They construct it invisibly, silently, while others are distracted. They do not rely on motivation. They generate it while asleep, giving themselves an edge that compounds relentlessly. This power is available to you tonight. The moment you lie down is not a pause. It is a launch pad. Your subconscious is listening, learning, and aligning. Every thought you allow, every mental pattern you reinforce, every vision you hold with intention shapes the person you will become tomorrow. You can choose to feed it fear, doubt, and distraction, or you can feed it clarity, courage, and purpose. The choice is simple, yet it determines everything. Claim your nights, guide your mind, and you will awaken with momentum, alignment, and an invisible advantage that sets you ahead of everyone else. Your future begins with the thoughts you protect tonight. Your nights are far more powerful than you have been led to believe. They are not simply a break from the day, a chance to rest the body. They are a hidden arena where your mind does the work that shapes your future. Every thought you allow before sleep becomes a command that the subconscious obeys with precision. When you fill this space with distraction, stress, or worry, you are training your mind to react, to stumble, to drift through the next day without control. When you fill it with intention, clarity, and vision, you are training your mind to act decisively, to recognize opportunities, and to align effortlessly with the life you are determined to create. This is the quiet leverage that the 1% harness every single night. The brain is a masterful learner, constantly reinforcing the patterns it experiences most. Neural pathways are strengthened not just by conscious effort during the day, but by the subtle, repeated patterns cultivated in the hypnagogic state. The fragile space between wakefulness and sleep, What you think, what you visualize, and what you rehearse in these moments is magnified. Fear, doubt, and distraction become self-fulfilling. So too do focus, courage, and clarity. This is why high performers seem to act with effortless alignment. The groundwork was laid while the rest of the world was unconscious. The advantage is invisible, but its effects are undeniable. You have the same potential tonight. You do not need more hours in the day, more luck, or more natural talent. What you need is awareness and intention in the moments when your mind is most receptive. Ending the day with deliberate thought, with rehearsal of solutions, with visualization of the person you want to become, programs your subconscious to guide your waking actions automatically. The alignment, confidence, and momentum you feel tomorrow morning will be the direct product of what you allowed your mind to absorb tonight. The work is subtle, but its impact is profound. Consider the mornings when you wake feeling scattered, unprepared, or drained. Those mornings are not random. They are created by nights surrendered to distraction, noise, and unfiltered thought. Now imagine waking calm, focused, and deliberate, with direction already imprinted in your mind. That shift is not an accident. It is the product of intention applied consistently when the mind is most capable of receiving it. The 1% understand this principle, and they protect it fiercely. They know that mastery is not built in chaos. It is built in the quiet, deliberate moments when the mind is most receptive. The edge you are seeking does not require grand gestures. It does not require extra time or extreme effort. It requires awareness, choice, and consistency. By consciously guiding your thoughts before sleep, you are reclaiming control over the one variable that influences everything, your subconscious mind. Every vision you hold, every intention you set, every pattern you reinforce tonight will echo through your actions tomorrow. Your nights are not just rest, they are preparation, momentum, and advantage. Claim them, protect them, and feed them with clarity and purpose, and you will awaken not just ready, but ahead. The life you desire is waiting, and it begins with the thoughts you protect tonight. Every night, your mind is shaping the life you will live tomorrow. It does not rest passively. It is absorbing, processing, and responding to the final instructions you give it. When left unguarded, it defaults to the patterns of distraction, fear, and doubt that most people unknowingly reinforce. Those who rise ahead do not leave their nights to chance. They understand that every thought before sleep is a command, every mental image is a rehearsal, every emotion is a signal that programs the subconscious. They feed it with clarity, focus, and purpose, knowing that the subconscious will carry these seeds into action the moment they wake. This is the invisible force that separates those who struggle from those who advance with certainty. Neuroscience confirms that the brain's capacity to learn and adapt continues even as the body rests. The hypnagogic state, the fragile threshold between wakefulness and sleep, is when the mind is most receptive to deliberate input. It is a state in which repeated thoughts are reinforced, neural pathways are strengthened, and habits are encoded. If fear, worry, and distraction dominate this period, those patterns become automatic. If clarity, focus, and vision dominate, the mind automatically aligns with goals and action. This is not theory, it is a science of transformation. It explains why high performers wake with energy, decisiveness, and momentum, while others wake tired, scattered, and behind. The difference is in the unseen preparation of the night. Your nights are not passive, they are active, invisible training grounds for your subconscious mind. Every thought you allow, every pattern you reinforce, every vision you hold shapes the person you will become. Most people ignore this power, leaving it to the default patterns of stress, distraction, and mental noise. You have the ability to choose differently. You can guide your thoughts with intention, rehearsing solutions, clarity, and confidence. You can feed your mind with the exact state you want to carry into tomorrow. This is not about forcing motivation. It is about creating a mental environment where action, alignment, and focus become effortless. This is the leverage the 1% use to stay ahead. Imagine waking each day with direction already imprinted in your mind, with energy aligned to your goals, and with a sense of clarity that removes hesitation. That state is built in the minutes before sleep, not by struggling during the day. The edge you are seeking, the momentum that seems elusive, is cultivated in the quiet moments of intention, vision, and rehearsal. While the world sleeps unconsciously, the 1% are sculpting their minds to guide every waking action with precision. This is not luck, it is design, and it is available to you Tonight, you hold the key to change in the moments when your eyes close. Your subconscious is listening, learning, and aligning every second you choose to feed it deliberately. Every night spent guiding your mind toward clarity, focus, and purpose compounds into effortless action, confidence, and momentum. Every morning, you awaken ahead of circumstance, already positioned for success. Your nights are not a pause, they are preparation, they are leverage. They are the secret advantage that transforms potential into achievement. Claim them, protect them, feed them. The life you want begins with the thoughts you guard tonight, and the edge you desire is waiting for you to take it. Every night, the mind is at its most receptive. It is a powerful silent instrument, shaping your perception, your decisions, and your energy for the day ahead. Most people treat these moments carelessly. They scroll through distractions, replay frustrations, and let fear dominate, unaware that their subconscious absorbs every detail. The 1% do not leave this time to chance. They treat it as sacred, as a moment of leverage, as the most critical period for programming their future. They feed their minds with intention, clarity, and focus, knowing that these seeds will grow into automatic alignment, momentum, and action the next day. Your nights are the training ground your life has been waiting for. The science behind this is undeniable. The hypnagogic state, the delicate transition between wakefulness and sleep, is a period in which the brain processes information with unparalleled receptivity. Thoughts repeated in this state reinforce neural pathways, solidify habits, and encode beliefs. When you allow worry, doubt, or distraction to dominate, those patterns become automatic and your day begins in chaos. When you consciously guide your mind with clarity, determination, and vision, you establish patterns that your subconscious will follow automatically, aligning your actions with your goals without struggle or hesitation. This is how high performers consistently wake ahead, while others start behind. Every thought you entertain before sleep is a command. Every mental image you hold is a rehearsal for reality. The 1% understand this principle and act on it without exception. They know that their nights are not idle, that their subconscious is always listening, and that the small, deliberate choices they make before sleep compound into life-altering results. You have the same power. You can choose to surrender to distraction, or you can direct your mind with precision. You can feed it focus, confidence, and possibility, ensuring that your subconscious works for you instead of against you. This is the hidden engine behind unstoppable momentum. Consider the mornings when you wake scattered, reactive, or drained. Those mornings are the product of nights left uncontrolled when your subconscious defaulted to patterns of stress, worry, and limitation. Now imagine waking calm, clear, and aligned, with direction already embedded in your mind. That shift is not random. It is cultivated deliberately in the quiet moments when the mind is most receptive. The difference between ordinary outcomes and extraordinary achievement is not effort. It is invisible preparation, done consistently when no one is watching. While the world drifts, the 1% build. Your nights are not a pause. They are your advantage. Every minute spent guiding your mind, rehearsing your best self, and visualizing solutions is a minute invested in effortless action, clarity, and momentum. The subconscious does the work that will carry you forward long before you lift a finger tomorrow. This is how ordinary effort transforms into extraordinary results. This is how the edge is created. Every thought you protect tonight, every pattern you reinforce becomes a foundation for your waking life. The life you want, the clarity you crave, the success you desire, these are waiting for you to claim them in the moments before sleep. Guard your nights, feed your mind, and awaken already ahead. Every night, the mind is listening, absorbing, and shaping the life you will live tomorrow. It does not rest in the quiet. It acts as a silent architect, constructing patterns, reinforcing beliefs, and directing behavior while the body lies still. Most people underestimate this power. They allow distraction, worry, and fear to dominate these final moments, unintentionally training their subconscious to act against them. The 1%, however, protect this time fiercely. They feed their minds with clarity, intention, and vision, knowing that the subconscious will carry these instructions forward, creating effortless alignment, momentum, and action when they wake. This is the invisible advantage that separates leaders from followers, winners from dreamers, and those who succeed from those who survive. Science has shown that the brain's capacity for learning and adaptation is heightened in the hypnagogic state, the delicate space between wakefulness and sleep. Thoughts repeated during this period solidify into neural pathways, forming the blueprint for habits, emotions, and decisions. If fear, doubt, and distraction dominate, the brain reinforces limitation, indecision, and chaos. If clarity, confidence, and focus dominate, the brain reinforces resilience, decisiveness, and opportunity. This is why high performers wake ahead while others struggle, because they have prepared their minds in the moments when most people are unaware. Their lives are being shaped. Their advantage is invisible, yet undeniable. Every thought you allow before sleep is a command your subconscious will follow. Every mental image you hold is a rehearsal for reality. The 1% understand this principle and act on it consistently. They do not leave their nights to chance. They do not wait for motivation or inspiration to arrive in the morning. They use the final moments before sleep to program their minds, rehearsing solutions, envisioning their best selves, and reinforcing the patterns that will carry them forward effortlessly. You have the same power. You can choose to surrender to distraction or to guide your mind deliberately. You can feed focus, courage, and possibility, creating a subconscious ally that propels you towards success. Think about the mornings you wake exhausted, reactive, or uncertain. Those mornings are not random. They are the direct result of nights surrendered to distraction, worry, and unfiltered thought. Now imagine waking calm, aligned and decisive, with direction already embedded in your mind. That transformation is not accidental. It is cultivated in the minutes when the mind is most receptive. The difference between ordinary outcomes and extraordinary results is not effort. It is invisible preparation repeated consistently when no one is watching. While others drift, the 1% build. Your nights are not a pause, they are your leverage. Every thought you choose to guide, every pattern you reinforce, every vision you hold with intention is an investment in clarity, momentum, and alignment. The subconscious does the work that will carry you forward long before the day begins. This is how ordinary action becomes extraordinary, how potential transforms into achievement, the life you desire, the success you envision, the confidence and focus you crave, all are waiting for you to claim them in these quiet, decisive moments before sleep. Guard your nights, feed your mind, program your subconscious, wake already ahead.